Today we have the presentation of two new Xiaopeng models, which are hybrid cars built in the range extensioner mode. But the battery in these cars is the world record battery in this class of the car, in this market segment. This is the new G7 2026 edition with range extensioner and with a huge battery of more than 55 kilowatt hours, which is pretty incredible. Today we had a chance to drive both G7 hybrid version and P7 Plus hybrid version, and we start from G7. The total mileage is 901 kilometers. The battery is almost fully charged up to 90%, and it shows us 387 kilometers of pure electric range. Just imagine that. Let's go. So we have the first results. We have driven 70.1 kilometers, and unfortunately it still wasn't the pure electric mode. Yes, you have the choice of pure electric priority, and even in this sub-menu of new energy, you have the possibility to choose pure electric higher priority. But still, when you push the acceleration pedal, it will turn on the internal combustion engine, what we see on this chart. Here we have the during the past 100 kilometers, it was 1.5 liter fuel consumption, and it was 13.1 kilowatt hours of energy consumption. Past 20 kilometers, I almost haven't used any fuel, so it was 14.5 kilowatt hours and only 0.6 liter of petrol, which is normal. Basically, it is like same as pure electric car. But because we do not have the possibility to discharge the battery fully today, we would have to drive more than 300 kilometers. Currently, we will do testing in different mode. We will do in this way. First of all, I will use the hybrid mode. Secondly, I will put the battery charge limit in the energy menu up to 80%. I've already done it. Despite now we have 68, so from now we will drive in hybrid mode when the internal combustion engine has to charge the battery up to 80%, and also has to the battery and the internal combustion engine, they have to deal with car moving forward. Let's try it. Now we have something interesting. Now we see how much actually petrol will be used for driving at about 100 to 110 kilometers per hour of constant speed and charging the battery at the same time. And as we see, it's of course no magic, it's 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers. The other things remarkable about this car is that Xiaopeng did a lot of job to make actually the internal combustion engine completely non-recognizable. I don't have any sign of working of the internal combustion engine, despite now it's working, and I assume not at 1 or 2,000 RPM, probably at more than 2,500 RPM. I don't feel any vibration, any sound, and in my experience, it's maybe the first hybrid car where you cannot recognize the working of the internal combustion engine completely. They changed the sound insulation for the range extended car. By the way, as this is the 2026 year model, both the range extended and pure electric version received significant improvement in the self-driving system. Xiaopeng at the presentation claimed it's actually level 4 autopilot system, but what I clearly feel here, the lane keeping system improved significantly. And also, the car asks to put the hands on the steering wheel about 10 times less often than the 2025 year model. This is incredibly quiet car, 66 decibel on the speed of 130 on highway. Of course, it depends on the road surface and quality, but on the quiet tarmac, it's super quiet. I will insert the picture from the presentation where they show how many sound insulation mats they added to the whole body. We have just driven 94 more kilometers. Everyone gathered in this beautiful spot. Our car is in the middle, and I will show you the results of our consumption test. Despite I asked the car to charge battery until 81% from the beginning, the car didn't do it. We still have 70%, it was 69 in the beginning, somewhere in the middle of the 94 kilometers trip we had 73%, but in the last 10 kilometers the car used those 3% as well. That is because everything works by the algorithm. We cannot basically force this car to do something if it doesn't want to. The car just realized that we have a lot of battery percentage and decided that the car that she will use actually the fuel only basically for moving. The final result of the average consumption 6.8 liters, which from my experience a little bit more from compared to, for example, BYD Song LDMI, about 1 liter, because I still think that the parallel hybrid is a little bit more effective, but still it's quite a good result. Despite the conditions, the weather, we have like 20 degrees outside, are actually perfect for the electric car. If the battery would be much lower, like 10%, the consumption would be definitely higher, because the car would also have to charge and charge battery all the time. Now it's time to tell you who used our 6.8 liters of gasoline per 100 kilometers. They were used by the DAM15 NTE internal combustion engine. This engine was developed specially for the range extensioner systems, and it is used in all Xiaopeng range extensioning car, for example the X9, which is already on sale, also for the G7 and for P7 Plus, which we also have the official premiere these days. This engine has a lot of technology inside of it, and surprisingly it's very powerful. It has turbocharger, so the power is 110 kilowatts, which is around 150 horsepower, which is way more power than naturally aspired engine, for example, from the BYD or Chang'an or Mazda Chang'an from the same price range. This is 1.5 liter engine with the Miller cycle, which is very close to Atkinson cycle, which I told you about before, but it works in a little bit different way, used in turbocharged engines. We have here also the double overhead camshaft system, and the general durability of this engine is not mentioned anywhere, but Xiaopeng claims that on all the test drive cars, while developing the range extension models, this engine did 20 million kilometers in totally in all the cars. Where else it is used except the Xiaopeng models? Basically, as I know, only in one car, the Lantu or Voyage 3. There the index is a little bit different in just 1 letter, but we understand that this is actually the same engine. The third part of the test, we will allow the car to choose how to drive by itself. We will completely conceal any limit of the battery level. The lowest one is 10%. We will not force the car to drive in the pure electric mode or any other mode. It will just be the hybrid mode. And this is what we have in our trip menu. We will again zero trip B. We will see how it will do from this point. Also, the 2026 model year features this super comfy zero gravity seat. As for the energy and fuel consumption, in the automatic mode, the car decided to use 6.1 kilowatt hours of the electricity plus 3.9 liters of gas. This is automatically decided by the car as probably the most effective way. Tomorrow we will have the P7 Plus test drive about the same length, about the same detailed information, so stay tuned. Today is the second day of the presentation of Xiaopeng, and we have different model. This is P7 Plus of 2026 model year. The car can easily be defined from the 2025 model year by this front LED light. In this version, it has just single very long LED light, but in the previous version, it was segmented in 3 pieces. Of course, this one looks much more clear and more beautiful, but in case of some accident, you will not be able to change segments of it. So this car is actually very close to the yesterday's G7 range extended version. Here we have the same 1.5 turbocharged engine, which works as an electricity generator. Generally, in terms of trim, all the equipment and characteristic, this car is close to G7, but the shape of the car is different, and this car hasn't been presented in my channel yet. Today, this is the first day I will drive this car, so I will try to make as detailed review as possible. The first test will be the pure electric range, which I didn't manage to do yesterday, but today I will try to force the car use exceptionally electricity. First of all, here I will put the trip A to the 0. Here we have the total mileage of the car is 552 kilometers, brand new car, and I have already forced the car to use only electricity in this way right here. By the way, don't be surprised, the car system doesn't have English language right now. When you have this car in your dealership, it will have English for sure, as all of the other Xiaopeng models. Just this is the pre-series car, very early stage of production, and the system may differ a little bit. Now it's time to tell you about how this car drives. Of course, the chassis, the adjustment, everything is very close, even the body structure, very close to G7, to G6, which we already had on our channel. But here, from the first 200 meters, I really feel that the car has a little bit longer wheelbase. It gives you a feeling of a little bit more solid car. It feels more closer to the European E-Class, like Audi, for example, A6, or Mercedes-Benz of E-Class. Also helps to get this feeling, the lower silhouette of the car. The car is 15 centimeters lower than, for example, G7, and it really feels more like a sedan car. The other thing I feel from the beginning, that here is a little less power than, for example, in the G7. There it is 218 kilowatts of peak power. Here is 180 in the range extended mode. As I said, it received a little bit lower power motor than the top level of the EV car. And this is felt from the beginning. In the acceleration from 0 to 100, even in sport mode, you feel that it is more than 7 seconds. In my subjective opinion, I haven't tested yet. When accelerating from 60 to about 100, of course, it's fully sufficient for any overtaking in the city or on the highway, but you have less feeling of like flying and light car, which I had in the G7 yesterday. At the same time, no any questions to the handling. The car is completely transparent, completely predictable, but in my opinion, there is also no difference from G7 or G6, which I call synthetically perfect in terms of driving in all my videos starting from 2023 year. In terms of autonomous driving, everything works perfectly, same perfectly as in the G7 yesterday. The system doesn't require interfering from the driver, except sometimes it will ask you to put the hands on the steering wheel. Lane changing, overtaking, going out of the ramps, everything works, if not perfectly, at least 9 times of 10 super perfectly. Also, the super wide HUD developed with Huawei, if I'm not mistaken, also works extremely nice, showing you the video from the mirror cameras, which is very vivid, very useful. And also the brightness of the projection is 12,000 nits, which is about 10 times higher than in your laptop of the latest model. That we need, first of all, for visibility in a super sunny weather, and secondly for the visibility in the sunglasses, where now I'm in the sunglasses and I see the picture perfectly. So we have the first results of the pure electric driving. We've done 61.5 kilometers without any fuel consumption, but the average consumption was 17.6 kilowatt hours. Yes, it's definitely higher than the 11.6 kilowatt hours which they claim this car should have, but part of the way we were driving in the sport mode, and also we have 4 people in this car, and we did some acceleration from 0 to 100 for the video. So I assume it's still quite a good result for a 2.16 tons car of the carb weight, plus about 300 kilos of the passenger. But now we will go to the hybrid mode, and we will allow the car choose the most effective mode of combining ICE and pure electric way of driving by itself. The overall length is more than 5 meters. The range extended version is actually a little bit longer than the electric version, but maybe it's also because of the model year difference. The range extended is only the 2026 model year, this exactly car. It's about 30 millimeters longer, which is completely not important. Generally, the total length of this car is almost 5.1 meters, 5,071 millimeters, and the wheelbase is extremely huge, exactly 3,000 millimeters. 3-meter wheelbase is actually the number which is close to luxurious, huge S-Class cars. But here we have it in a basically family liftback. The car is about 15 centimeters lower than the G7 we tested yesterday, and the wheelbase is about 12 centimeters bigger than the G7, which you feel almost at once when you just get into this car. The body rigidity is very high. It's about 42,000 Newton meters per one angle. We have here the high strength formed panels and so on. The body crate is made of 2000 MPa pressed steel. The aerodynamic coefficient is extremely low. It's actually about less than 0.21, which is of course extremely good and a little bit better than SUVs from Xiaopeng, because of course they are a little bit higher. The carb weight of this car in the EV varies from about 2000 kilos plus minus 50 kilos, but in the range extended version this car is the heaviest. It is 2160 kilos of the carb weight. All the outside panels are made of steel and almost all of them have galvanized zinc coating. Right here, the hood cover, the fender, the door, inside, outside panels all have zinc coating, which is of course extremely important, and actually it's normal for the Xiaopeng standards. Just this fender for some reason doesn't have zinc coating. The tailgate halfly made of plastic and halfly made of the steel with zinc coating as well. Nobody calls this car an SUV, but the idea of this model is to make the liftback of same practicality as the similar size SUV, and basically I agree that they've managed to do it. Here we have this trunk, which is 725 liters of volume, including this huge niche. And if we fold the seats, we will have the 2221 liters. Of course, all my viewers always get the infography of the trunk. You will get it this time as well. But today we have something more fun. We have these suitcases of 22 inches of size, which we could put inside and check the actual capacity of the trunk. Okay, so we closed it. I don't know, maybe it can be done in a better way, but I don't have time to play. So now we have 3 and 3, 6 suitcases with unfolded seats. I've managed to put in 16 suitcases. There is actually still a lot of space for bags. Well, it's really a lot. Based from the infography, you can see this is really the volume of a large SUV. Now I have to put all back. Now it's time to talk about the specification of this car, and I've specially chosen the new blue color, which is available only from 2026 model year. So we've always had the pure electric version of this car, which was available with 2 motor options. The one is 180 kilowatts of peak power, which is 245 horsepower. Acceleration from 0 to 100 is 6.9. The other is more powerful, 230 kilowatts, with acceleration from 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds. The difference in 50 kilowatts is pretty huge. But today, as we know, we have the range extended version, which has that one less powerful engine and motor, and actually it is more heavy than the pure electric car. Under the hood we have same as in the G7 range extended version and same as the X9 range extended, but here we can at least see the ICE. This is the DAM 15 NTE, but here we can see that it is almost not covered. We have here the turbocharger. We can see that this is fully aluminum head of cylinders and block of cylinders. Here we have the cooling tanks for the battery and for the motor. Here we have the air filter. Basically everything is understandable. This is the heat pump system, because both the G7 range extended and the P7 Plus range extended have the PXP 3.0 thermal management system, have also the AI battery doctor, which monitors the battery state using the cloud service 24 hours per 7 days of the week. And I want to remind one more time that this is the TFSI basically engine with the direct injection, with the fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump working on 350 bars. And at the time when this motor actually debuted, it was awarded as one of the 10 best hybrid engines in the world. Now it's time to talk about the batteries. The pure electric car of the 2025 model year has 3 options: 60.7, 74 point something kilowatt hours and 76 point something kilowatt hours. They combined in different way with the different electric motors, had different range, but all of them were lithium ferrophosphate batteries, if I'm not mistaken, from China Aviation Lithium Batteries supplier. Of course, all of them have the liquid cooling and heating. But this is the range extended model, and here we have 49 kilowatt hours, also lithium ferrophosphate battery, also supports 5C, 800 volts platform. Here the actual voltage is 522 volts. Because this car is actually a little bit lower and has better aerodynamic coefficient than G7 we drive yesterday, they put here the smaller battery. Yesterday it was 56, today it is 49, but the pure electric range should be same 430 kilometers. In terms of suspension, most of the current Xiaopeng cars are same. They are divided basically with air suspension or without. Here, of course, we don't have air suspension. That is not that market segment, but we still have the double wishbone front suspension with the CDC continuous damping shock absorber. Same system as in the G7, which works nice, which has the real-time adjustment based on the road quality. Here we have the 165 millimeters of the ground clearance under the front frame. We see that the front part is mega die-casted, like Tesla, like G7, like other Xiaopeng models. Here we have the huge aluminum lever. Here we have even bigger lower aluminum lever. And basically that's how it looks. In 2026 model year, the zero gravity seat for the front passenger added. Now we can, using just one button, fold it and unfold in the maximum laying position, which is super comfortable. The new G7 has it as well from 2026 model year. Basically, P7 Plus and G7 price is approximately the same, just slightly different. So we have approximately same equipment. We have almost identical finishing and trim of the interior. Here we have soft finishing, here we have soft finishing, same as on the door panel, but here we have pretty basic plastic. The weakest part of interior is this glove box, which can be opened by the by the touch button. Also, we can set the password for it. Here we have soft covering, which is nice. We have the multi-layered soundproof glass in the first door window, same as in the G7, and all the pillars inside trimmed in the microfiber material, which gives you a really premium feeling. We have audio system consists of 20 high-fidelity speakers. In my opinion, it is also similar or at least very close to the G7 model. So basically, you may choose among the SUV, which is G7 or P7 Plus with a little longer wheelbase, a little bit premium feeling when driving, but basically very close specification. Small premium touch, again, same as in the G7, the natural wood panels, which are imported from Europe and unique in every single piece. On the right side of the car, we have the charging port, slow charging port, in our case for the Chinese specification, single phase up to 7 kilowatts power, and of course the DC port, which supports 5C charging, about 290 kilowatts maximum power. And from the other side of the car, from the left side, we have the tank fuel cap. It can be opened only from the touch screen, and the tank capacity is 60 liters, which is pretty a lot, and it gives this magical more than 1,700 kilometers of combined range for the range extension car. Xiaopeng claims that this size of the interior and size of the trunk is the record in this market segment, and I totally agree with them. We have a lot of space. The seat position is very comfortable. We have the backrest regulation. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 10 degrees electric adjustment. We have also this table, which actually is not loosened at all. It feels pretty rigid, more rigid than in the premium Zeekr 9X. We have this central control screen for the rear passengers, which allows to use the AC, which allows to use the seat massage, heating and ventilation. Both front and rear seats have these options, same as the G7 actually. We have this huge armrest. We have also this microfiber same trim, so it's really amazingly comfortable. It's super nice. At the same time, honestly, the G7, because it's a little bit higher, slightly more comfortable. But still, as for a liftback car, I would say it's 10 out of 10. The ratio of useful usage of the floor area is from 88 to 89%, which is extremely high. Basically, G7 has same. It means that if we have here, for example, 3 square meters of area, 89% of it used for something useful, like for seat, for just floor space. By the way, it's completely flat floor, not used, for example, for body structure or for something else, which is not useful. We should pay some extra attention to the sunroof and generally the glass of this car. First of all, the sunroof has very high quality material with some silver coating, which eliminates up to 99% of ultraviolet and infrared rays. Secondly, despite we do not have the shade any cover, it really works. It really hides us from the heat and from the sun better than in the most car I've really experienced. Also, we have here the record square of the total glass area. Because of the huge rear door with the glass and all these 3 windows here, we have more than 6.2 square meters of the glass area. Both the G7 and P7 Plus feature the soft closing function. We are reaching the final destination of our trip, and we have results of the final part of the testing where the car was in the hybrid mode. Basically, it was automatically defined by the car how to use the energy, the fuel, and so on. For some reason, worse results than yesterday. For the past 100 kilometers, we have 4.9 liters of petrol consumption, and we have about 4 kilowatt hours of energy consumption, which is lower than yesterday, but doesn't compensate the difference in the fuel consumption. So for some reason, the car decided to use a little bit more petrol. The driving conditions are very, very similar to those which were yesterday. We drive on the highway, we drive about 100 to 130 kilometers, and I must say this car in the eco mode at this range of speed is slower than the G7. The G7 yesterday in the eco mode was pretty difficult to hold below the 130 kilometers per hour. Here in eco mode, the car after 120 becomes relatively, let's say, mild. Currently, I don't understand the reason why fuel consumption increased by 1 liter compared to the G7 yesterday, but still it is not a bad result for the 4-seaters in the car and average speed over 100 kilometers per hour. Friends, Xiaopeng company did something unbelievable. They entered the hybrid cars market just about 3 months ago with their X9 model. And now, with the G7 range extended, with the P7 Plus range extending, they are ultimately the leaders of their market segments. There is no any other SUV of this price and size which has 55 plus kilowatt hours battery, no any liftback of this size and price which has almost 50 kilowatt hours battery, which according to our measurements can provide around 400 kilometers of pure electric range. That is truly awesome. And of course we still have the acceleration, handling and energy consumption of the perfectly made pure electric models, which we all already know pretty well. This is really great move. I wish prosperity to this company, and let's follow their new updates and see where they go further. And of course the 2026 model year has some very nice features such as zero gravity seats, such as significantly improved self-driving system, which is due to software, and theoretically it will improve probably every quarter. My name is Dennis. Please subscribe to my channel, leave the comment and push the like button if you like the video.